how am I going to stop myself from like drafting a ton of Derrick Henry this year? I'm
Right.
not going to be able to. Is the long and short answer of it. The Packers one I think stands out, and it sort of feels like it's great that you bring up Brian Gutekunst because it's like he sort of was able to straddle the fence here on this one, and that like, yeah, they did give Matt LaFleur this Josh Jacobs, which I had the exact same read on it that you did, which is like the Packers want to be able to be more diverse in the run game. They want to be able to do a little bit of everything, like the Rams are doing, like the 49ers are doing. And Jacobs is a back that allows you to do that, especially on some of those gap scheme stuff.
He's great on duo. Yeah, that's a great point. No, that's a great point. Yeah.
But at the same time, they still gave him a contract that's like, well, if he shows up looking like 2023 Josh Jacobs, like we're out of here. And then like we also draft Marshawn Lloyd, and like LaFleur keeps anytime there's a mic in front of him in training or like OTAs right now, he's like committee. I've always had a committee back. So I think that's the one that has the potential to be the most boom bust, I guess.
Yeah. It's for me, it would be the hardest to pick between as well. Like kind of like each week, and from fantasy purposes going like,
oh yeah.
Like it's a kind of a stay away until proven otherwise. Because even Marshawn Lloyd is like I kept kind of describing him as like a simple runner, and I didn't mean that as a diss. I just meant that like he's going to get the yards blocked for him, and I think he does a good job of doing that. Like he plants his foot and goes, but it's not like where I'm like wowed by him. So it's not where it's like, well, you can't keep this guy off the field. But I think that's what they're kind of trying to do with their run game. Hey, we got Jordan Love, who I just named as my fifth best quarterback on Mita's show, which was a little bit of a heat check. But I rewatched like 4 games. I rewatched some of the. I watched them in real time, but then rewatched some of those games just for that pod, and I was just like, oh crap, I might have underrated them. Yeah, but I think that's what some of the thinking was well, let's just have our singles hitters in the run game. We're going to get the explosives through the pass game, so let's just stay on schedule. Because I think last year, especially the first half of the year, none of the running backs were healthy. The offensive line was going through some stuff. It was so many 3rd and 10s and 3rd and 12s that, what LaFleur's background was get, 4 yards isn't a bad thing. 3 yards isn't a bad thing because now we're 2nd and 7 as opposed to 2nd and 12.
Right. Ironically, like they were able to do that when Aaron Jones, who they jettisoned, is when he was in there, they were able to do that. But of course, I think it's mostly just the health stuff. Yeah, I think it's mostly just the health stuff. But because then when you have AJ Dillon back there, it's like, well, we're lucky if we get 3 yards, So I think that's why they have to have Marshawn Lloyd in there too. So that is, I'm with you that at first it blush when they signed Josh Jacobs because I was high on the offense overall, and I'm high on Love. I love Reed and Wicks. Those guys are ballers, and like the other players are nice role players as well. They got 2 intriguing tight ends. I was like, okay, the feature running back on that team, like I want that guy in fantasy. But now that they've added Lloyd, there's more time to think about it, and he's going off the board as a 29th overall player in early best ball drafts. I'm like, yeah, we'll see. I think I have very much like a. Yeah, I think I have a very he's going ahead of Derrick Henry, which to me, like I'm taking Derrick Henry like 100 times out of 100.